Selamat siang, selamat datang di acara Press Conference for the Fourth ISEF. Izinkan kami, perwakilan dari Bahasa Global, untuk menjelaskan tata cara penggunaan fitur interpretasi dalam Zoom webinar kita pada siang hari ini. Welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Press Conference for the Fourth ISEF. Here I am from Bahasa Global, will explain on the how to use the interpretation feature on this Zoom webinar. Next slide, please. For a record, I want to remind you a few things. So if you are accessing this Zoom webinar using double devices, or there are other colleagues that joining this webinar also near you, please use a headset so that when you're speaking, we will not causing an echo or feedback noises. Untuk Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang mengakses Zoom meeting ini berdekatan dengan laptop atau gawai lain, atau mungkin ada kolega Anda yang juga bergabung dalam webinar ini menggunakan devices lain, mohon untuk dapat menggunakan headset agar apabila nantinya Anda berbicara, Anda tidak menyebabkan gaung atau feedback. Lalu juga mohon pastikan telah mengunduh atau menggunakan aplikasi Zoom terkini supaya fitur interpretasi bisa tersedia dan bisa digunakan dengan optimal dalam Zoom Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. In order for the interpretation feature to be available in your devices, please make sure that you are using the most updated Zoom application. Next slide, please. Baik, awal-awal saya akan menjelaskan tata cara penggunaan fitur interpretasi dalam komputer atau laptop Bapak Ibu sekalian. Bisa dilihat di bagian bawah user interface Zoom Anda, ada lambang bola dunia bertuliskan interpretation. Silakan diklik, lalu Anda bisa pilih bahasa yang ingin Anda dengarkan, apakah itu English atau Indonesian. Klik bahasa Indonesia apabila Anda ingin mendengarkan penerjemah kami dalam bahasa Indonesia. Anda tidak perlu klik mute original audio agar Anda bisa tetap mendengarkan flow language ketika ada pembicara sedang berbicara dalam bahasa Indonesia. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you see on the bottom interface of your Zoom screen, you could see there are a globe icon, written interpretation. You could click it and then choose your preferred language, English, for example, and then you will hear our interpreter in the English channel. You don't have to click the mute original audio. Next slide, please. Apabila Bapak dan Ibu sekalian menggunakan handphone atau mobile phone, Anda akan melihat tampilan sedikit berbeda. Anda bisa klik logo 3 titik yang ada di pojok kanan bawah Zoom Anda, pilih language interpretation, lalu pilih bahasa yang ini Anda dengarkan. Mohon dipastikan bahwa Anda tidak memilih mute original audio, lalu jangan lupa untuk klik done. Setelah klik done, baru Anda bisa mendengarkan suara dari penerjemah kami. For ladies and gentlemen, you will see a little bit different interface in your handphone or your mobile phone. You should click on the 3 dots icon on the bottom right of your interface, choose language interpretation, and then choose your preferred language. And you don't have to click the mute original audio. And then after that, click done, so that after that, you will hear our interpreter in the preferred channels. Next slide, please. Oke, baik. Untuk memastikan agar acara ini berjalan dengan lancar, maka host atau co-host berhak melakukan mute audio atau stop video panelis yang mungkin tanpa disengaja mengganggu atau menyebabkan gangguan terhadap acara. Ini dilakukan untuk menjamin suara pembicara maupun juru bahasa tetap jelas. So, ladies and gentlemen, host and co-host reserve the right to mute your audio or video if you are unintentionally causing disruption to the meeting to ensure that the speaker and interpreter remain clear at all times. We thank you for your cooperation in this matter and have a productive webinar. Saya serahkan kepada Mbak Puri Anindita untuk memandu acara kita pada siang hari ini. Terima kasih.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the press conference of the 4th Indonesia Circular Economy Forum with the theme towards smart and sustainable cities through circular economy, building resilience during COVID-19 recovery. My name is Puri Anindita, and it is my honor to host today's event. Changes are taking place in our world every day as a result of the rapidly evolving COVID-19 situation. During this challenging time, our hearts and thoughts are with all who have been impacted by this unprecedented global event. We salute all who are doing their part and working hard to ensure that our lives and loved ones are kept safe and sound. And I appreciate your effort to be here virtually. Thank you. We're in this together. Allow me to warmly welcome Mr. Merilzam, Director of the Environmental Affairs, Indonesia's National Development Planning Agency, Bappenas. Hello, Mr. Medrilzam. Pak Medrilzam, delighted to have you here with us. Also, allow me to warmly welcome Mr. Morten Holm van Donk, Head of Environmental Sector Cooperation, Embassy of Denmark in Indonesia. Hello, sir. How are you? I hope you're keeping well. Thank you for joining us here today. Also, Mr. Bijaksana Junirosano, founder of Green Generation Foundation, and Ms. Vanessa Leticia, Executive Director of Green Generation Foundation. They're both here with us. Mr. Alvaro Zurita, Team Leader of Rethinking Plastics Project. And also joining us, Dr. Almud Besolt, Head of FNF Indonesia and Malaysia. Hello, Dr. Besolt. Good afternoon, Mr. Karyanto Wibowo, Chairman of PRAISE. Hello, Dr. Besolt. Looking forward to our session together. Mrs. Vera Galuh Sugianto, Vice President, General Secretary of Danone Indonesia. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia Circular Economy Forum, or ICEF, is a platform for decision makers from the government, companies, as well as environmental enthusiasts to discuss issues, challenges, solutions, and recommendations for implementing a circular economy in Indonesia. This year, the fourth ICEF will be conducted fully online from July 21st to 23rd. Kindly register yourself by visiting bit.ly/ICEF4-registration. Ladies and gentlemen and friends from the media, for today's press conference, kindly change your name displayed on screen with the format name-institution. And later on, we'll have a Q&A session later at the end of this webinar. Kindly use the Q&A feature using the format name-institution-speaker's name. Kicking off today's press conference, please join me in welcoming Mr. Medrilzam, who has been serving Indonesia's National Development Planning Agency, or Bappenas, since 1993 and had been appointed in various structural and functional positions since then. Mr. Medrilzam had chaired the Indonesian delegation in financial climate change negotiations under the UNFCCC from 2005 to 2008, and also followed several international loan and grant negotiation between Indonesia and several bilateral countries and multilateral bodies. Mr. Medrilzam, the platform is yours. It seems like Mr. Medrilzam was actually with us earlier, but let's wait. And moving right along, I think this is the perfect time for me to invite Mr. Morten Holm van Donk, Head of Environmental Sector Cooperation, Embassy of Denmark in Indonesia, to deliver his speech. The platform is yours, Mr. Morten.
Yes, hello, good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to take part in the opening of this press conference for the fourth Indonesian Circular Economy Forum organized by Green Generation Foundation. Despite this gloomy situation that COVID-19 is currently bringing to this country, it is important that we maintain focus on the green transition and on how the circular economy can help us to design future production and consumption patterns. The COVID-19 is showing us how important it is to build strong and resilient systems in the health sector. And equally, we do need strong and resilient systems when it comes to sustainable production and consumption in order to avoid catastrophic scenarios when virgin materials from the earth starts to run out. We must minimize the exploitation of our limited resources and to the highest extent possible reuse and recycle what has already been explored. But this demands an effort from all sectors and all parts of the society and the economy. Consumers are already starting to demand more sustainable products. The private sector is starting to see that responsible production increases competitiveness and sometimes even decreases production costs. Governments start to regulate and incentivize the industry to produce more responsibly and safeguard our environment. And the major finance institutions and banks are starting to redirect their funds to more sustainable directions and having to comply to stricter sustainability criteria. So the attention and the movement is there, and we now need to organize our thoughts and put focus on some concrete ways to practice the circular economy in the Indonesian context. Together with UNDP and Bappenas and the Indonesian Business Council for Sustainable Development and a number of other stakeholders, Denmark has supported the calculation of the economic, social, and environmental potentials to introduce a circular economy in 5 key sectors of the Indonesian economy. The work will form a basis of the 4th Indonesian Circular Economy Forum. We also intend to continue working on this space to support the development of a circular economy action plan for Indonesia and ultimately also prescribe national indicators for the circular economy. With ASEAN and the EU, we intend to showcase Indonesia as a front runner in Southeast Asia, so more countries can learn from each other. The ever-increasing focus on marine litter and other transboundary pollution calls for international solutions upstream. And this is directly linked to the circular economy and strong international agreements on material flows across the borders. I think the sector with one of the biggest economic, social, and environmental potential gains from a change to circular economy is the construction sector. Cities and urban areas may become leaders in this change. In cities, there is a high consumption rate of materials for construction and also the best environment to exercise and showcase the circular economy. There are, for example, plenty of potential to introduce circular economy in the architecture and design of buildings, in the choice, production, and delivery of materials to the building industry, and also in the demolition of buildings, sorting, reuse, and recycling of already used building materials for new construction. Denmark and Indonesia have been in partnership on energy and environmental matters for almost 20 years now. Infrastructure, dialogue platforms, policy discussions, concrete regulation has all been supported for the reduction, reuse, and recycling of waste. And this has been done in various forms and through various institutions in both bilateral and multilateral fora, and through a direct support to Indonesian organizations, training opportunities, capacity building, and research. I'm happy that Denmark now for 4 years in a row is also able to support the Indonesian Circular Economy Forum as part of the Danish-Indonesian cooperation in the environmental sector. And I wish you all a good press conference and a successful event later this month, when the time comes for the 4th Indonesian Circular Economy Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morton. I can't agree more. A bit about Mr. Morton, ladies and gentlemen. He is an expert in developing and managing government-to-government cooperation between environmental authorities in Indonesia and Denmark. His expertise includes strong cross-cultural management skills in international development and government relations, hereunder in particular within climate, energy, environment, and land use. So agreed, a circular economy is an alternative economic model where products and services are designed with the end in mind. Production encourages regeneration, repurposing, allowing the materials to be diverted back to industrial or biological nutrient cycles. Consumption and markets are designed to optimize the use of existing products, and access to products is encouraged over ownership. Now, moving forward, I hope Mr. Madrilzam is here with us again. I would like you to join me in welcoming Mr. Madrilzam, who has been serving Indonesia's National Development Planning Agency, or Bappenas, since 1993, and had been appointed in various structural and functional positions since then. Mr. Madrilzam had chaired the Indonesian delegation in financial climate change negotiation under the UNFCCC from 2005 up to 2008, and also followed several international loan and grant negotiations between Indonesia and several bilateral countries and multilateral bodies. Mr. Medrozam, the platform is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Mbak Puri, Pak Morten, and also Pak Sano, honorable speakers, media representatives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings from Jakarta. First of all, I hope that all of you and all your family are in good health. Allow me to express my pleasure to be part of this forum amid the challenging situation that we are still facing today. I'd like to express my gratitude as well to the Green Generation Foundations and especially to the Indonesia Circular Economic Forum for your spirit and support in implementing circular economy initiatives in Indonesia since the last few years, and also for hosting this event. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I believe in the last 2 years we have experienced the COVID-19 pandemic, which has had a systemic impact on our economy and social systems. And while the economic slowing down from this COVID-19 and from this COVID-19 has also resulted in temporary emission reductions in last year, and but we are also facing our economic recovery at the moment following the outbreak, but we're still a bit worried about our economic recovery in this case, because usually following the outbreak, the economic recovery would potentially cause the emission rebound if we still use business as usual approach as our recovery strategy. This approach will also present a challenge to Indonesia long-term visions of escaping the middle income trap status before 2036 in order to become and put Indonesia to become as a developed country by 2045. And therefore, government right now believes that we need a very strong economic transformations towards green economy with circular economy as one of its driving forces to ensure that our growth in the future is more resilient and sustainable. We believe linear economy implementations has resulted in the depletions of our natural resources, the degradations of our environmental quality, and also caused the climate crisis. Yeah, it has proven to be no longer relevant in this COVID-19 pandemic situations. Therefore, we're as a government right now pushing very hard to start initiate the transformations of our economic structures, and one of them is to implement a circular economy where we could achieve more by optimizing the use of resources, or we usually call it as a resource efficiency. Based on Bappenas study, we just released the study this year. There are 2 studies related to circular economy and also food loss and waste. Circular economy can encourage the increase of resilience and also long-term benefits. For example, the implementations of circular economy in 5 priority sectors, including food and beverage, textile, wholesale and retail trade, and constructions and electronics, could generate a additional GDP about 593 trillion rupiah to about 642 trillion rupiah. And even further, we could also create 4.4 million net green jobs. And also, based on our estimations, that we could also reach reductions of our greenhouse gas emissions about 126 million tons in 2030. And specifically on the food loss and waste sectors, it is estimated as well that the economic loss generated by food loss and waste from 2000 until 2019 is equal to about 213 to about 551 trillion rupiah. This could also indicate that applying a circular approach to reduce food loss and waste could also give us a lot of economic benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, besides industries and SMEs, we believe cities are also can become a major engines for further economic growth that can drive this circular economy agenda forward. Yeah, the importance of this approach could also be reflected in the emergence of urban issues. We know that urban area right now, the population increased quite significantly, and it is expected by 2030, 60% of the world's populations will live in the cities. And even for Indonesia, the projections could also exceed this 60% as well. So while greater urbanizations could lead to an increase in pollutions and waste volumes, the ensuing density could also encourage an exchange of ideas among urban communities and foster innovations regarding circular economy. So transforming the way cities are planned, designed, and financed can foster as well a thriving, livable, and resilient cities. That's what we really expect, yeah, in related to the urban, the emerging of the urban areas at the moment. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, with the increasing of urgency with related to these issues, we believe the governments right now have an immediate response is incorporate, and we incorporate the concept of circular economy as an integral part of our Indonesian Vision 2045 and in our medium-term development plan for 2020 to 2024. However, we still have to put our best efforts to narrow down the strategy and encompass it in well-defined priority activities in our next medium-term development plans. Accordingly, in 2021, we try to expedite several actions. The first, we continue conducting study and assessment, especially on resource efficiency to support evidence-based policy and to complement two reports that has been launched that I have mentioned before. And the second, capacity building and training for all circular economy stakeholders is being prepared to build a solid foundation and also enhance knowledge, and this is very crucial, enhance knowledge and information on this agenda. And the third, as a platform for collaborations, Bappenas with the support of from the Kingdom of Denmark and UNDP Indonesia, we are initiating a circular economy secretariat under the Indonesia Low Carbon Development Secretariat or LCDI Secretariat. And colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I believe ICEF right now is a very it's now become an essential agenda to engage multiple institutions to discuss challenges and opportunities in the circular economy. Since 2017, if I'm not mistaken, ICEF has promoted circularity by disseminating information and discussing contributions from each stakeholders. We really appreciate this year's themes towards smart and sustainable cities through circular economy, building resilience during COVID-19 recovery. I hope through the fourth ICEF this year, we could have a fruitful discussions and share our knowledge, experience, and success stories to enhance our cooperations to build smarter and more sustainable cities by implementing the circular economy today and also in the futures. Let's embrace these moments to revive our development policies by taking higher productivity, sustainability, and inclusiveness. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. Hand it over back.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Bedrilzam, for the awe-inspiring remarks. In line with what you've just said, in the past few years, the circular economy has been getting a lot of attention, resulting in some essential momentum. The growing attraction towards the circular economy is reflected in prominent actors consisting of national, local governments, multinational corporations, and NGOs that are actively exploring various ways to shift our economic practices into more circular. Now, leading up to the fourth ICEF, July 21st to 23rd, we have an amazing panel on smart and sustainable cities through circular economy, where we will be talking about building resilience during COVID-19 recovery. We have 6 experts in their own field as our panelists. Allow me to welcome our first panelist. We have Mr. Wijaksana Junero Sano, or Mas Sano, founder of Greeneration Foundation. Mr. Sano has been actively participating in environmental conservation efforts through waste management, entrepreneurship, and social awareness. Hello, Mas Sano.
Halo, Pak Puri. Hai.
Always nice to see your face. We will definitely have an interesting discussion, but allow me to also say hello to Mr. Alvaro Zurita, the team leader of the Rethinking Plastics Project. Hello, Mr. Alvaro. Mr. Alvaro has been leading Rethinking Plastics Project as the circular economy solution for marine litter for 2 years now. Previously, he was also involved in low carbon and waste to energy cooperation projects. So hello from Jakarta to Mr. Alvaro Zurita.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Looking forward to our discussion. Joining us here today also Dr. Ahmad Bassolt, head of FNF Indonesia and Malaysia. A bit about Dr. Bassolt. She studied Arabic studies, political sciences, and religious studies with a focus on the Arab world and Islam at the University of Leipzig, Germany. From 2000 up to 2003, she did her PhD on the international sanction against Libya. From 2004 up to 2013, she was working as a lecturer at the Oriental Institute of the University of Leipzig. In 2007 up to 2008, Dr. Bassolt was on leave and worked for the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon. I definitely look forward to your thoughts because FNF is supporting this year's ISEF by giving their expertise in Circular Jumpstart, one of the ISEF side events. On to the next, hello, doctor. On to the next panelist, we have Mr. Karyanto Wibowo, the chairman of PHRASE. Mr. Karyanto has been managing and advising organizations management on various business objectives related to procurement sourcing strategy, sustainable business, and financial contribution, both top and bottom line. He is also a dynamic and agile professional with 15 years plus international experience in procurement, sourcing, and supply chain sustainability B Corp certification. And joining us here today in the panel, last but not least, Mrs. Vera Galuh Sugianto, the Vice President General Secretary of Danone Indonesia, is already here. Starting her career at Danone, Miss Vera served as General Counsel Director for Legal, Advisory, Regulatory Affairs, and Compliance. She is responsible for the entire drinking water and specialized nutrition division of Danone Indonesia. So welcome, panelists. Let me kick off with Mr. Sano first. We will have a discussion. This is very flexible, very fluid. And then later on, media representatives, friends of media, you can join us on Q&A session. So, Mr. Sano, how important is shifting from a linear economy model into a more circular one, especially now we're in the midst of the pandemic? The floor is yours.
Yeah, of course, it's very important, but Puri, if we go into this linear, we will be crash. It will be damaging ourselves, damaging our country, damaging the environment, and damaging the life of all human, because it's already a lot of evidence that the linear economy will be crashing into the environmental degradation that will be very dangerous. So this circular economy, it's also a lot of evidence that we already do the research, also do the study, that making a lot of potential to the economic, to the social, and also mostly to the environmental. The way we live in this earth, it will be preserved because of this circular economy model. We need to grow the economy. We need more green jobs. And also we need to make sure that environmental will be also okay, not only okay, but more beautiful compared the previous one. So I believe that this is very important and fundamental for the world, for the global society, and mostly for the Indonesia, that we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of river, we have a lot of sea, we have a lot of forests. So this is very important for us to embrace the circular economy. That's why Green Generation Indonesia starting this Indonesia Circular Economy Forum as a place to sit down together and thinking, and also not only thinking, but also creating collaboration to do the action, real action and implementation. And we're quite happy that you can see in the left above a lot of brand, a lot of organization, a lot of logo. that willing to work together. And I believe this is the true example of SDGs number 17, partnership. So we're very glad to support and also initiate ISEF, and many thanks for all partner that's supporting ISEF. So I think it's obvious circular economy important, Pak Puri.
Yes, thank you, Masano. I will definitely follow up on that, but let me shift let me give the spotlight now to Mr. Alvaro. What can we learn from the EU member states? How is it different implementing circular economy in the Western world and here in Asia, particularly in Indonesia? What can we learn?
Well, hello everyone. I'm Alvaro Zurita, the team leader of the Rethinking Plastics project. You know, this is a project financed by the EU, co-financed by the German government. We are implementing in the region, in several countries in the region. So I'm speaking here also on behalf of the EU delegation of the EU Foreign Policy Instrument. So I've prepared some lines. Yeah, so please allow me to share with you some lines of our thoughts. So it's a bit more structured. Yeah. So Dr. Medrilsam, Director for Environment of Bappenas, Mr. Karyanto Wibowo, Chairperson of Praise, speakers, representatives from the media, all participants. So I would like to thank you very much for inviting us to this press conference and again to be part of ISEF. On behalf of the EU delegation, Jakarta, on behalf of the EU Foreign Policy Instrument, and on behalf of the team, the GIZ team of the Rethinking Plastics project, I would like to give you some insights of the EU policies in plastics and into the Rethinking Plastics project. Just let me start with the EU context, the EU experience so far. In 2018, the European Commission presented its European strategy for plastics in a circular economy. It intends to prevent plastics waste, expand recycling capacities, and increase the market demand for recycled plastics. Furthermore, it seeks to enhance international cooperation in circular economy and marine litter prevention. In 2019, the European Commission adopted the Single-Use Plastics Directive, banning certain single-use plastics items in the EU member states. This banning came into force just now, a few days ago, starting now in July 2021. And this is an experience Europe is going through just at the moment. Also, Europe is learning. So it's not set in stone that this will be, obviously, it should be a successful success story, but there are a lot of challenges. We still don't know what will happen. So we will be learning and sharing this experience also with our partner countries and our partners in our projects, of course. Further, the new Circular Economy Action Plan adopted in 2020 has become one of the main blocks of the European Green Deal, our new agenda for sustainable growth. It aims to ensure the resources are kept in the economy for as long as possible. And you know that plastics is one of the sectors with high resource usage, but also with high potential for circularity. And in this context, we are carrying out this Rethinking Plastics project. The Rethinking Plastics project started in 2019, almost 2 years ago. We're implementing this project. As I said, this is financed by the EU and co-financed by the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ. And we're implementing it in 7 partner countries in the region. This is Indonesia, China, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand as main partner countries, and Japan and Singapore with some small activities on green public procurement. In the project, we are addressing basically the complete value chain of plastics, and we are focusing our activities on policy dialogues with the partner countries. So even if it looks like the regional project, actually it's a multi-country project. With each country, we are sharing. We are having a specific work plan where specific activities are adapted to the country. And so we are working on policy. We're having policy dialogues. We're working on waste management issues. waste management from the perspective of approaches like extended producer responsibility, deposit return schemes, so that we can share the European experience in these topics. We are addressing the more upstream activities, a more upstream approach on sustainable consumption production criteria. This means addressing topics like single-use plastics, how to replace or go into the design of products so that we can get rid of the single-use plastics problems. And we are addressing the sea-based sources. It means plastics from ships and from fishery sector, from commercial sector, commercial ships and fishery sector. We are addressing the green public procurement in Japan and Singapore. And last but not least, the awareness campaigns. We're implementing awareness campaigns in our partner countries. So it's a very ambitious project for only 3 years of implementation. So we are starting now the third and last year of implementation. And it's a challenging project, especially in COVID times, of course. In Indonesia, of course, we have, through the project, we have been working closely to various stakeholders in Indonesia and reducing plastic waste and supporting circular economy for plastics and preventing plastics waste from ending up in the ocean. We are conducting 6 pilot projects in total in the project in the region. We are conducting 24 pilot projects, 6 of them in Indonesia. In Samarang and Malang Regency, we are working on dealing with plastic waste management. In Bandung City, Banjarmasin, and Mataram City and West Lombok, our pilot projects are focusing on reduction of the consumption of single-use plastics. And in Tegal City and Banyuwangi, we are mitigating marine litter from sea-based activities. And we are hoping that through the collaboration with ISEF this year, the project could share some stories and lessons learned from the implementation of the pilot project with a wider audience. The EU project and EU, the Rethinking Plastic project, we have been supporting ISEF since our first year of implementation. This means in 2019, with ISEF, we co-organized an event called Making Fashion Circular, focusing on avoiding fast fashion and promoting utilization of recycled plastic as material in garment polyester and polyester. The project also facilitated a speaker from Green Dot. Green Dot is a system operator for extended producer responsibility for packaging in Germany. We facilitated a speaker as one of the speakers at the event organized by Praise at the sideline of the event. The project sees in ISEF, we see that the ISEF event has a strategic role, not only on disseminating good policies and practices or lessons learned, on promoting advancing circular economy of plastics, but we also see it could, and actually it's already doing, unlocking potential cooperation synergies among different actors of the society. That means public, private sector, CSOs, among others. This year, ISEF, we are organizing together with the Bandung Institute of Technology, Environmental Engineering and Alumni Association. We will co-organize a thematic session with focusing on circular city and ecotourism. This event will take place on July 21st. And we will have another session. We are co-hosting another session with the National Plastics Action Partnership and PAP and Indonesia Packaging Recovery Organization, IPRO, on advancing EPR, extended producer responsibility for packaging in Indonesia. And as multi-stakeholder and knowledge hub sharing platform on circular economy, we hope that ISEF could strengthen in future, is already doing, and could strengthen even more the transition of Indonesia in applying circularity of plastics in Indonesia, the experiences and lessons learned from our EU countries, but also from from all the countries where we're implementing our Rethinking Plastics project, will be shared, and we offer to share it in this process, and we all can learn from this experience, and so Indonesia can embrace the circular economy for plastics. So thank you very much for inviting us, and I'm open to further discussion when it's time for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alvaro Zurita. Kudos to the Rethinking Plastics projects, and happy to hear that in Indonesia we have developed or activate 6 pilot projects. Hopefully we can amplify that. But my question to you is, comparing the policy landscape in Indonesia and EU member states, do you think it is possible to have a regulatory framework that supports the implementation of a circular economy here in Indonesia?
Question. Of course, it should be. If we lose hope, we wouldn't be here. So if you don't have, it should be possible. Of course, it's possible. We have to say every country has a different reality. We are seeing, we are experiencing it in our project. We're in 7 countries, 7 partner countries in the region, and all countries are somehow advanced in some aspects and maybe have a lack of development of policies in other aspects. So it is, but we have to work on this, and it's a long way into this direction. But also, of course, Indonesia has been advancing very well. For instance, in the concept of introducing extended producer responsibility. There's from looking at our partner countries, Indonesia is quite advanced in this approach. So this is already a success story.
Good to hear. Let's just keep that sparks alive and keep that hope alive. Okay, if I may, I would like to now give the spotlight to Dr. Alva Besolt, a bit about FNF. FNF is supporting this year's ICEF by giving their expertise in Circular Jumpstart. One of the ICEF side events, Circular Jumpstart, is a startup incubation program designed to help startups in their infancy stage. Later on, Dr. Besolt will share more about that. Welcome, Dr. Besolt. But my first question to you would be, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, how could the circular economy shape a more resilient, socially just and environmentally safe world from your perspective?
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me keep the greeting short and simple with a general "May peace be upon you." Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for inviting me today. Thank you for the introduction, and do let me start right away without further ado. Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom Indonesia, FNF Indonesia, is a German political education foundation which believes in liberal values. We have worked together with local partners in Indonesia on several issues since 1969, so for more than 50 years already. Currently, some of our programs include human rights education with our partner ministry, which is the Ministry of Law and Human Rights, and climate change issues with the Climate Institute. We believe that the solution to climate challenges, including the road to a circular economy, should not rely only on government initiatives, but also on participative and market-based mechanisms. We believe that individuals, through their innovative and entrepreneurial spirit, could help to accelerate the journey to a truly circular economy and sustainable future. That's why we support the Circular Jumpstart program that will help to launch the 15 participating startups working to solve the circular economy challenges, from designing out pollution, changing consumer behavior, to reinventing the waste management systems, which, as all of us know, is urgently needed. With our experience in teaching and facilitating innovation and smart city solutions across our global office, and in collaboration with local mentors and experts, we hope to showcase the potential of market-based climate action driven by innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Besolt. But I am personally excited about this Circular Jumpstart program that FNF was also take part in. So could you tell more about this before we discuss more about the circular economy and how important this is in helping those community overcoming the barriers to make this work? So the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Well, with the development rate of new technologies, there are many potential solutions and models available at startup founders' disposal. There's no one-size-fits-all business model for the circular economy. However, I believe these founders are extremely creative, very creative in seeing the commercial potential for their startup. And this is the incentive. I highly recommend everyone who is interested to discover the various startup models in the circular economy to join the final presentation or demo day that will be conducted together with ICEF 2021 on the 22nd of July.
Okay, love it. Love that you tease it enough. So we look forward to see you again on the 22nd of July. But one more question before I move on to Mr. Karyanto. So if you can be super honest and based on your observation, what are the barriers faced, particularly by the Indonesian business communities in implementing circular business models?
Well, that's tricky to answer. Well, I could so far only say that I really believe that the existence of ICEF and Circular Jumpstart will help the development of circular economy and climate solutions in Indonesia tremendously. I see that the multi-stakeholder dialogue is very diverse and involves a lot of relevant stakeholders. And for the Circular Jumpstart, I also see a good future to advance the circular economy practice in Indonesia. However, about the details, I'm not really sure how that will work out on the ground, but it will work out.
Oh, we're losing you, but that's fine. I think
sorry.
It's fine. I think I quite understand what you meant. And
Okay.
so I want to shift now the focus to Mr. Karyanto. Mr. Karyanto, IPRO Praise is involved as one of the strategic partners of this year's ICEF. How is Praise contributing to the discourse and implementation of the circular economy in Indonesia through its packaging waste management? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Puri. Yeah, so basically, a quick one, I just want to introduce Praise. So basically, Praise is Packaging and Recycling Association for Indonesia Sustainable Environment. It's an association initiated or founded by 6 companies, a leading FMCG company, namely Coca-Cola, Danone Indonesia, Indofood, Nestle Indonesia, Tetra Pak, and also Unilever Indonesia, who really wants to contribute as an industry, kind of collective industry effort to support Indonesian government objective on the circular economy. So back to your questions, basically, yes, Praise, I would say, has been a supporter of ICEF since the very first time. It was launched in 2017, not mistaken. So, during that time, actually, ICEF is not as big as today, with so many partners working together supporting ICEF. But actually, during that time, we really support ICEF and also promoting the introduction of circular economy in Indonesia. And basically, the last Praise participation for ICEF, it was in, I think, in 2019. During that time, actually, Praise, for the very first time, communicating or promoting the IPRO, or Packaging Recovery Organization, I would say, as a potential solution or alternative solutions to support the Indonesian government to address the waste challenges, which is finally, Alhamdulillah, in 2020, during the COVID pandemic, we successfully launched IPRO, Indonesia Packaging Recovery Organizations. This is really kind of as innovative and collective actions, innovative solution by the industry, to support the management of the packaging waste in Indonesia, involving collectively formal and informal sector, as well as the relevant, I would say, the players along the value chain of the waste. So basically, for this ISAF, this is the fourth ISAF, because iPro is growing. The organization is already established, and then we already started the initiative in implementing a program on the ground. We also invite other companies to join to participate. We do some testing, the model on collection, supporting the incentive scheme, and also have so many initiatives on the ground basically. So therefore, during the fourth ISAF, we will, I would say, showcase on the best practice, on the importance of collaborations among all stakeholders in the value chain of the waste management. And then we will also inviting, of course, other company, our stakeholders, to be part of it, to contribute in supporting Indonesian government on circular economy.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm gonna hold on. I'm checking all the chat in our chat room. Okay, one more question before I go on to Mrs. Vera. How do you see the future of the circular economy in Indonesia with the existence of ISAF?
Yeah, so basically the circular economy model in Indonesia, to be honest, is already exists quite some time ago. But of course, we didn't really realize that basically the model that already established, with the existence of the recycling industry, the parties involved in the collections ecosystem. This is actually the circular economy. But of course, we still have a lot of potential that we need to further grow in the futures, which is we need to ensure some enabling condition for circular economy development in Indonesia has to be established, such as how the business start thinking on the circular business model through innovations, how we really use the technology innovations to support the circular economy. This is something where the industry is able to do so. What we can do to do the social innovations, because in Indonesia, the circular economy business model involving also the informal sector. What we can do on the social innovation, how we embrace the wider participation of the public through the behavioral changes, how we work together with the government on the policy on financing, has to be win-win policy on how to embrace other industry to have kind of a equal treatment, no free rider in working together on the circular economy. So definitely, but one important thing is the collaboration. So collaboration is key, and then I believe that ISAF can be a platform to really bring together all parties, all the relevant stakeholders within the circular economy ecosystem to work together. This kind of convergence approach for the growth of circular economy in Indonesia, which is I truly believe we will have kind of a quite bright circular economy model in Indonesia, and then we can be a reference from other country on this topic.
Love it, love it. So tech, social innovation, behavior changes, mindset, and policy, not only financing, but also equal treatment and collaboration. Thank you so much, Pak Karyanto. I would like to now highlight Mrs. Vera Galuh. Hello, Mrs. Vera. I hope you're keeping well. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How is Danone as an FMCG company implementing the circular economy principles in its economic practices? The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. And I think to echo some of the other speakers already mentioning that actually circular economy is here. It's possible and it exists, right? So I think it's really how us as parties here to be able to inspire others and sharing our knowledge and experience and how we can really make a circular economy business model that is sustainable, but also easy. So for Danone Indonesia, we have two business units. We have our waters business through Danone Aqua, but we also have our specialized nutrition. And we have this one vision of One Planet, One Health, which remains our North Star in all the initiatives that we do, especially when we talk about circular economy. Because this vision allows us to really focus in our business to deliver our commitment for the planet, which covers three pillars: the circularity of carbon, circularity of water, and circularity of packaging. I think in terms of packaging, we have many proof points that has been shared and discussed as well. But not to also forget that in terms of circularity of carbon, we also have a pledge that in 2050 across our full value chain, across the countries that we operate, we want to make sure that we become a carbon neutral company. In Indonesia alone, through our Aqua plants, we are installing in 17 plants, we have solar power plant by 2023 that would actually allow us to avoid around 16,000 tons of CO2 per year. And for circularity of water, for sure, this is something as our backbone. It's not only about us preserving our water resources and natural environment, but also providing access on clean water and drinking water to those people and communities in need, but making sure also the community around our sites understand how they can actually be more responsible in using water, including for sustainable agriculture as well. Now, coming back to circularity of packaging, which I think a topic that Pak Haryanto raised as well in his role as the chairman of PRAISE, and Danone Aqua is also one of the founder. It's clear that we've been starting the circular economy model actually since 1983. One of the first, actually the first company that introduced reusable and recyclable packaging for our jugs. And this jugs model represents more than 70% of our business right now. So when we talk about circular economy, it is really something doable. It's really something feasible, and it becomes something of a sustainable business until this point. But of course, we are not stopping there. We know that we have a range of products across the type of packaging serving the needs of consumers. So in 1983, through our Aqua Peduli, we've started to start the concept of circular packaging through our collection. Since then, we've established and supported 6 recycling business units across several different locations in Indonesia, which supports the collection of more than 12,000 tons plastic every year. These plastic, of course, doesn't go to waste as part of the circular economy, and this plastic becomes the supply network to be able to further recycle through to recycle PET and then turn again to be used as our basis for our product packaging as well. So we step up that as well in 2018. So now it's our 3rd anniversary of Bijak Berplastik. Basically, it's our commitment to support the government's agenda in reducing 70% plastic in the ocean by 2025. Now, this commitment on Bijak Berplastik will actually aim us to collect more plastic than we use. We also want to use 100% recyclable materials or reusable and decomposable packaging. And of course, to increase our proportion of recycled PET in our content, in our packaging bottles up to 50% by 2025. Now, these commitment goes into 3 elements, which is collection infrastructure, consumer and community education, and of course, product packaging innovation. So these 3 pillars have to hand in hand contribute its ambition to be able for us to deliver our commitment on Bijak Berplastik by 2025. Of course, these 3 pillars have several proof points already. One, let's say that we call in 2019, I think we've produced the first ever bottled water made entirely from recycled PET called Aqua Life. But of course, now we've continued to actually use 100 recycled PET in our normal SKUs bottle now in Bali, and moving on, expanding to Java Island as well. In terms of collection, ever since 1993 with our Aqua Peduli, we've continued to step up in creating other collection centers and also waste management centers, including the recent one we've worked with Veolia in establishing an inclusive recycling in Indonesia program, basically to support the collections of plastic packaging. But also with Veolia, we've actually just launched in operation the largest recycled PET factory in Pasuruan, Surabaya, which actually will help support the collection of around, or the production of RPET around 25,000 tons per year. And I think an important point to mention when we talk about collection is really beyond just economy. It's really about empowering as well, because the collection system in Indonesia, as everybody would know, really needs the support of privates, really needs the support to actually empower our scavengers and their family, stepping up their lifestyle, livelihood as well. So this system of collection with recycled business units and others actually provides access to health insurance, savings, and educations for more than 9,000 scavengers across Indonesia. And of course, we should not stop there. Together, we should be able to step up the collection network and also empower more of those scavengers and other social workers around Indonesia.
Love it. Thank you, Ms. Ferragalo. Thank you, Danone Indonesia, for making this happen. I know we can do more, but this is a great example on this is possible. We needed that boost. So love that there is recycled PET in Pasuruan, and love your last line really resonate with me, that this is not just about recycling, but also empower people. And so Danone has empowered more than 9,000 scavengers, and hopefully more. So thank you, Mrs. Farah. I just want to quickly say hi to our media friends, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. I will open the Q&A session in about 3 up to 5 minutes. So please shoot your questions with the format name dash institution or the name of your media, and dash speaker's name. So if you have a particular question for a particular someone, kindly shoot us the question. We only have 20 minutes for Q&A. So last question before we open the Q&A session, Masano, tough question for me. In building awareness and implementing a circular economy in Indonesia, what are the challenges and opportunities that we are facing? I know you've been doing this for so long, and ISEF, by July 21st, we'll be having the 4th forum. I would like to have your thoughts and observation in making sure that we can do this. But to do this, we need to identify the challenges and opportunities, right? So yeah, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Puri. So the potential and the challenge, not from only my opinion, but this is from the participant of ICF itself, that they said the challenge to grow and implement a circular economy in Indonesia, one thing is the certainty of the law and the regulation. So this is something that we need to take into consideration, that we need to help to set up a better ecosystem on the law enforcement and also on the better regulation that fair for all the stakeholders. So we need to make sure that this is something that we need to develop together. Number two, it's also the challenge is the commitment. Yeah, this is something that I hope this is not a trend only, but this is something that this is the new economy that we want to build. This is not only a trend 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but this is a longer perspective that we want to build. And we're quite happy that this commitment is already embraced by the government. So within the Bappenas, Pak Metrilzam and the team already support the circular economy and take the circular economy into the RPJMN. Yeah, it is the government plan, middle development plan of Indonesia. So this is already showing that the government already commit into this. And we also see that many stakeholders currently also doing the same, like the existence and the birth of the IPRO come from the private sector. This is also showing we already growing the commitment, and we need to grow bigger about this. And the third challenge is the financing mechanism to shifting into to the circular economy from linear economy. We need to make sure that we have enough capacity to transform and also to transition into that. So, and we quite happy also to see that many financing scheme, financial institution go into this field. Yeah, we know that a lot of investment currently also focusing not only into the recycling, but also into the changing the business model, into the refill system, into the reusable system. So many exploration that we already do. And all of this, three of these, will create a ripple effect, a big wave, creating more big wave that we can create education and awareness to all sector, not only to the society, but the main player that changing and shaping the economy of Indonesia. So I do hope ISEF will be the platform, will be the place for all of us together to strengthen the communication, to strengthen the collaboration, and strengthen the learning for us to make a circular economy in Indonesia. I think that's Mbak Puri.
Thank you, Basano. Love it, and look forward to ISEF on the 21st of July up to 23rd. I can see that all the admin team are gathering questions. So let me buy a little bit more time. I would like to ask Mr. Karyanto again. How do you see the future of this circular economy in Indonesia with the existence of ISEF? I can feel that optimism, but also now we are facing the pandemic, and a lot of people now producing more plastic waste, masks, PPE, and so forth. So what can we do about this? How do you see the future? Sorry, Mr. Karyanto, can you unmute the, yes, thank you.
Let me unmute. Okay, so thank you for the questions. Yeah, I think we should take the momentum of the pandemic to build back better. I think this is the opportunity, because it is kind of a pause. It is kind of a, we need to we need to think what we can do better after the pandemic, because we should. I think we should not set back, but we have to do better in the futures. And then you see also some commitments already made by several companies as part of the Paris members to keep continue in pushing the circular economy agenda further. You know, for example, like a few weeks ago, there was some launch of the recycling plant in Pasuruan, and also the groundbreaking of the recycling plant also in Jakarta by one of the members, and some other activities, some other initiative. So I think we should not set back, but we really take a momentum to build back better, and it is a time to work together in driving the circular economy.
Yeah, I think that echoes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that echoes what Masano has said to us earlier, and I'm so happy that Praise has the same mindset as well. Mrs. Vera, I almost forgot that there's another side event of ISEF, workshop for journalists, that is actually supported by Danone Indonesia. So, Mrs. Vera, why do you think this is important?
Yeah, a very spot on question. First, for sure, we know that media is one of the very impactful voice when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to education, when it comes to sharing news, any type of information, right? And when we say media, it could be, the mainstream media, it could also be digital media as well. And with the current pandemic that we're facing, I think the fact that media has much stronger role to play. And that's why part of the Bijak Berplastik pillar on education, we also need to have this engagement from a journalistic standpoint, providing opportunity for media out there to understand more about circular economy, to understand more what's out there and what has been done. And of course, from a Danone Indonesia standpoint, we can also share the initiatives, the learnings that we've been going through, and then also finding where the improvement are. And I think with the journalists and the media on board, our vision, not only as a company, but also supporting Indonesia, to really share the story that circular economy is possible, to share the story where consumer or public can actually tap into knowledge and experience about circular economy, about the environment, and how the impact is beyond just economy. As we shared earlier, it's really about impacting the society. It's really about improving livelihoods of many people out there. I think that's the biggest driver why we had the engagement with also with Generation Foundation to have the educations on journalists about circular economy I think it was last week, right? So it's truly important, and hopefully it becomes also a spread of mouth. So when the journalist has already the right knowledge and source of information, they can communicate correctly, and consumer and public can really understand, and they can also inspire themselves and others to actually really understand and get to know more about circular economy. I think the more people out there understand about circular economy, the more they see that it's actually easy, it's actually the role of everybody, then of course we will have a much easier circular economy model that can be sustainable and can be attractive for many people out there.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you for trusting the media as the teachers now. Yeah, I'm also working for media. I'm a journalist. So knowing that role is also handed upon to us. Yes, it's like a slap on my back. Like, okay, let's do more. Do more, educate with what we have. Storytelling is a powerful weapon. Thank you, Ms. Farah, and thank you for facilitating this. The workshop has been great. I've been following 3 episodes until now, and tomorrow we'll have the 4th series of the workshop. So looking forward to the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Thank you. I would like to ask Dr. Basalt. Perhaps you can elaborate more about that Circular Jumpstart program. Is this exclusive only for Indonesia through ICF, or do you have also another program or similar program applied to other countries? And what can we learn from FNF and other startup incubators, particularly for eco-friendly or a more circular economy friendly business model? So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, thank you for this question, Puri. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you much more about that because every office is working individually. It's not an overall approach, which is organized by our head office in Germany, but every country, every project country like FNF Indonesia here is working independently. So as far as I know, we have nothing similar to ICEF so far.
Okay.
What we do have is, that's run by my colleague in Seoul in South Korea, that they have a smart city project, but this is smart city or not circular jumpstart, but somehow everything is interconnected anyway. So, so what we do is we always find local solutions. As I said, there is no overall approach from Germany also, because it wouldn't make sense. Of course, sometimes we have the opinion, well, here it worked out well, why not doing it in another country as well? That can happen, of course. But currently, explicitly with circular jumpstart, no, we only do it currently in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. I see all people are now popping up on the Q&A feature. Thank you so much. Media friends, kindly shoot your questions through Q&A feature instead of the chat room. I would like to facilitate as much as possible until 2:30 our time. So this comes from Siti Muyasaro. Hi, Mbak Saro. Is there any incentive from government to private sectors implementing circular economy model in their business practices? Perhaps this will go to Masano first, and then Ms. Farah and Mr. Karyanto can add more. Masano, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Mbak Siti Muyasaro. So currently the government, they are preparing a regulation about this incentive for a private sector that implementing circular economy model. So let's help, let's also push the government to speed up the process about this. So it's making sure that more proactively private sector excited to shifting to the circular economy model. So this morning, the Ministry of Environment and also the Forestry, including the Ministry of Industry, they said that both of them are also preparing this regulation about incentive that quite proactively promoting circular economy. So let's assist this. Let's also watch, maybe not only watch, but give support and feedback to the government for preparing a better incentive for. And I agree with Pak Karyanto. This is the momentum for us to build back better. And Bappenas already embraced this build back better. And they also preparing several regulation, and mostly through Pak Medrilzam and the team, they are preparing a stimulus for post-COVID development, specifically on waste management issue. We need to embrace this opportunity and respond and helping them to make sure it will be implemented in the near future. I think that's my explanation.
Thank you, Masano. On to Pak Karyanto and then Bu Vera. Pak Karyanto first.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to amplify what Sanu was mentioned, for the time being, there is no policy, but happy that to see government is establishing this kind of policy. But for us, from the association, of course, we expect the government to have kind of a conducive policy that really supporting circular economy. Because at the end, you know, we discussed before that circular economy is the right model that we need to push, because it will really bring the multiplier impact or effect, not only for the environment but also for the livelihood, for the economic growth of Indonesia. So of course, for our side, from our side, there are several initiatives already done individually by a PRIS member, but also collectively through IPRO. This is something that we started as kind of voluntary actions as an industry to support government through the establishing the pilot model, so that we can learn together, industry, and also kind of also feedback and input for the government when the government establish the policy. The incentive of scheme, of course, needed for industry as kind of a stimulus to push forward on the circular economy agenda, and also at the same time giving the same level of playing field. Because for time being, the company or the association who drive initiative on the circular economy, they don't receive any incentive, and then equally treated, I would say, by the government with other industry or company who don't really push the topic. So therefore, this is something that we expect from the government, and we are ready to have kind of a dialogue and discussion with the government on the policy.
Okay, thank you, Pak Karyanto. On to Bu Vera, Ms. Vera Galuh.
Yeah, I think nothing more really to add. Pak Sato and Pak Karyanto has really recapped, the needs, the importance of having this incentive being formalized by the government. I think a good things to say is that they actually understand, the government understands and really appreciate and acknowledge these initiatives on circular economy model that has been done by many companies, including Danone Indonesia. And we thank you as well for the appreciation and the award that normally is given. Let's support the government to actually take this to a different notch in terms of incentivizing all industries, all economy players to actually support and be much more inspired to do circular economy.
Thank you, Ms. Vera. I'm trying to make the session a more effective and concise as possible, just to make sure we can answer many questions as possible. So this one goes to, I think, Mr. Alfaro. Unfortunately, this is anonymous. How can we arrive or kind of like make sure we implement circular economy at the urban level? Because we've been talking about plastic leakage that goes to the sea, but sometimes we are so detached, especially people living in the city, we're so detached to the idea, and we're not informed enough, or we don't know how to do it. Perhaps you have certain insights and tips about this. The floor is yours.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Yeah, well, at the urban level, well, we have to see that actually 80% of the plastic waste that goes into this is what studies say, but approximately 80% of the plastic that goes into the sea is actually generated from land-based sources, and then it's obviously it comes also from cities in most cases. So it has to be implemented at the urban level when we talk about, so we're talking about circular economy, but here we're focusing on plastics, no, and on circularity of plastics. So it has to be implemented at urban level if we want to achieve some impact. There's no doubt. That's what we are actually trying also with our pilot projects, is to see, because it's not at the urban level, there are different realities also, and with our pilot projects we're trying to look more closely at what happens and how we can address this local aspects with the pilot projects, so that we can learn from them. No, it's not, we cannot compare a city that is based in that has no access to the sea, that a city that is close to that has beaches and it's a totally different realities. What I was just also listening to the previous questions and speakers, what I think is also very important, not only at the urban level in general, is to have this multi-stakeholder process. Know that we really have an approach on this with all stakeholders involved. It's not about lobbying from the industry or pushing regulation through from the government. The regulation only makes sense, and this is actually, it's not only for circularity, it's not only in this area, it's actually valid for all public policies. If you have a multi-stakeholder process, you will achieve some consensus, and then you have all stakeholders on board, no? And actually we have some experiences, and that's why we, as GIZ, we are when we implement our project in this case, a Rethinking Plastics project, we're not only looking at what is happening in Germany or in France or in Italy, which are totally different realities. With our experience as a development corporation, we're working on countries very similar to Indonesia and to the other countries in Southeast Asia. So we have some experience from comparable experiences where it has been possible. It is possible to, and this goes back to the first question you made about how to implement circularity in Indonesia. It is possible, and we have to learn from obviously from Europe and from where we have this already some years of experience, but we have to look also in in the region, and also go out of the region. We can look at South Africa, we can look in South America, what has happened there, because the realities are very similar sometimes. Maybe another culture, but very similar realities. And they have went through the same processes, same multi-stakeholder process, government discussing with NGOs, with the private sector on a model on, let's say, going back to the topic of extended producer responsibility, where we're working very hard on this. This only makes sense if there's a consensus. It doesn't make to impose a system that is not validated by all stakeholders.
Yeah, to have an open communication is also one way to make sure that we collaborate. And I think this is why ISEF is here. I hope that answers your question. Unfortunately, you're anonymous, but perhaps Dr. Basol would like to add something else.
Yeah. From my experience, before I came to Indonesia 3 years ago, I was working for 4 years in Pakistan, and there we did a lot on waste management. However, not on a large scale, but small scale. And here, from what I think is the only thing you really can do is work with schools. We went to schools, worked with the teachers there, just for explaining to the children about the problems which occur with all the waste. And this really helped because the children would go home and tell their parents, and finally the parents would understand, because usually parents are busy and wouldn't really care about that. So that is really what proved to be effective.
All right. On to our next question. This one is from Maresta Oceza. Goes to Mr. Alvaro and Dr. Basol, but I also would like to ask Mr. Sano and Ms. Vera and Pak Karyanto. A quick question. Could you refer us journal, articles, paper, or a very good book in regards with this circular model concept? I'm guessing this journalist would like to write more about this and need reference. So this is great. So Mr. Alvaro first, and then Dr. Basol.
Very brief, of course. It depends on what country you're looking at. Some in the circular economy, for instance, from Germany, experience with the circular economy concepts very, very close, and it started with the waste sector, with the waste management. And then the approach on the circular economy has a very strong focus, and it's sometimes difficult to get out of this. So this means that also the regulation, everything is linked to the environmental issues. But if we want to really go further, we maybe this is in other countries the approach is also different. It is not only an environmental issue. It is it's about economy, you know. And so you have to get involved the economic the Ministry of Economy or financing, and it is more than environmental regulation. And this is tricky because the problem comes from the environmental sector, but we have to solve it on another scale. So this is quite important to consider. There might be positive experiences somewhere, but I cannot give now an answer where you have to look at.
Okay, so it really depends on what angle, which country, and so forth. Dr. Basol, is there any like a go-to book that you would like to refer us, journalists, to read?
Sure, there is, but I'm not aware of that. I think here the other speakers are more aware of that. Maybe I'm not, unfortunately. I agree to what Alvaro said, but I don't know about the main source of.
We need to be very careful on like what are you trying to write, and then which country, which region, and it's all interconnected. So I'm echoing Mr. Alvaro. But Masano, would you like to add something to our journalists eager to learn?
Yes, I already sent the link about the circular economy potential in Indonesia, the study done by the Bappenas, help from UNDP and also Embassy of Denmark and other stakeholders. I think this is a very good review and insight about circular economy in Indonesia, the potential, the challenge, and everything. It's very good for journalists to understand this. And the second recommendation from me is the circulareconomylab.com. It's talking about the circular economy framework. We need to understand that the circular economy not talking about waste only, but it's talking about the whole framework of the economy. Yeah, starting from the policy context, starting from the R&D, research and development. Yeah, so the whole value chain of economy we are talking about. We need to shift into the same goal and the same direction. It's about the circular economy. So I hope it helped for the journalists getting more understanding about circular economy.
Okay. Perhaps Mr. Karyanto and Mrs. Vera would like to add some more books or links or journals that we as journalists can read more about that.
Yeah, actually, of course, the things that Sanu already mentioned the links on the concept on the circular economy, but I think we need also to have the knowledge on the Indonesian context. There are several research and article on Indonesian context. You can also refer to the research done by NPAP, and National Plastic Action Partnership. There was some reference how Indonesia put kind of a strategy to be a zero leakage by 2040. So if we are talking about zero leakage 2040, then what we have to do? So of course, we need to do the circular economy approach. It's not only recycling, but also reductions, redesign, how we manage our disposal, etc., and so forth. And then, of course, you can go on the Ellen MacArthur website and see there are many references over there.
Yeah. Okay. This is Svera.
Yes, I think the experts has mentioned several very valid reference, right? So I think that is a huge, strong starting point. I think to add on as well, some of these reference and research, and I think Pak Karyanto mentioned as well, it's also to be added with weight on how it is actually being done, how is it actually being implemented, because then a lot of learnings are also being uncovered when, let's say, Danone Indonesia implements several initiatives to apply circular economy. So I think those actual experience could be additional references on top of the research and study that has been done by several experts and government institutions as well.
Okay, thank you. Take notes, fellow journalists. Let's educate ourselves and then make this issue heard. I think we can have one more question. This one is from Irza Anas. I think this goes to Pak Karyanto. I want to know how Praise used this network to increase collection, especially multi-layer plastics. Pak Karyanto, the platform is yours.
Yeah, I think first thing first, I mentioned before, collaboration is key. I already mentioned as well how we as an industry should take part on this topic through the innovations, through product redesigns, increased collection, supporting the waste infrastructure, this kind of things. And then, of course, I know that specific topic on the multi-layers, this is quite challenging materials to address, definitely. But multi-layer is also bring in other side, also bring the positive impact on the maintaining the quality as well as the affordability, some other relevant aspect. We know it is challenging, so therefore we have to really work together, start really 360 approach, start from the design, what we can do to redesign the multi-layers materials to be more recyclable materials. It is not easy, but we believe that with the innovation we should be able to overcome this. And then redesign, of course, it is not enough, or having recyclable material is not enough. And then, but what we can do also to address on the collection part, and then at the same time also to develop the technology on the recycling part. So this is kind of a homework that we need to work together. Some press member is working on it, and then of course we should be able to use the ISAF framework, because there are so many stakeholders, involved to, exchange idea and see opportunity, to address this specific topic.
Okay, one more. I just want to make sure that everybody is facilitated. This one is from Erwin Kasim, and I think this goes to Mr. Alvaro Zurita to cut the question short. We have Indonesia has difficulties in separating waste. Yeah, usually in the Western world, there's so organized that from the household we separate organic waste, unorganic, and others. Thing is that didn't happen in Indonesia yet. Other solutions, says Erwin, is to apply polluter pay principle, but it is also a difficult effort to be implemented in this country. Any comment or idea to solve this? Mr. Alvaro.
Thank you for this very interesting and important question, of course. And this is exactly what we are also addressing in our project. That's why we are addressing not only to go to the sustainable consumption production of plastics. That means how to avoid plastic cutlery or plastic cups through redesign or putting into place other materials. We have to work also on waste management. It's not only, there's a discussion among experts, we should only work, it's called upstream, only work on the design part, because there, if we change this, we will change everything. That's right, but this will take some time. This could take 50 years. In the meantime, waste is still generated, and we will for 50 years we will still letting the waste, the plastic waste, go into the ocean. So we have to work on waste management, and in waste management, in modern waste management systems, there is the basic principle is a separation at source. And this is different from even the European experiences are different. Talking for Germany now, Germans are called the fundamentalists of waste separation, and so in Germany everything is separated very well, and it works. But of course we have a system. In other countries like France, for instance, it's not so such a strict separation, and but the waste management plant are have a different design, and it might have different efficiency, but then it works. But you need a sound waste management system, which is and to get there you need that is finance. And this is not an Indonesian problem. This is worldwide a problem that waste management is under-financed, because normally it is a responsibility of the municipalities, which is in most cases the weakest part of the chain, and they don't have enough resources for managing the waste. And so that's why we are pushing so strong in our project, the sharing the experience of the extended producer responsibility, where this is not only of shifting the responsibility to others, it's about financing the system. You need to finance a waste management system, and this is basically what is done, what can be achieved with a extended producer responsibility scheme. And only then you can start really having success stories on separation at source, etc.
Yeah, again, there's no one-size-fits-all solution, but thank you, Mr. Alvaro, for sharing. And I hope Mas Erwin is happy with the answer from Mr. Alvaro. Unfortunately, thank you so much, our respected panelists, for your answers, for your energy, your time, your knowledge. I would like to apologize in advance. There are still some questions left, but unfortunately, we have come to the end of our event. If you still have unanswered questions, do not worry. You can register yourself for the main event. The fourth ISEF will be online for 3 days on the July 21st up to 23rd. Kindly register yourself. Visit bit.ly/ICEF4-registration. There would be more intriguing presentation and discussion about various issues regarding the circular economy in Indonesia. And as the press conference of the fourth ISEF is ending, allow me to again thank you Once again, to all speakers, Mr. Medril Zam, Mr. Morten Holm van Donk, Mas Sano, Mr. Wijaksana Junarosano, Mbak Vanessa Leticia, Mr. Alvaro Zurita, Mr. Karyato Wibowo, Mrs. Vera Galusigianto, and Dr. Besolt. Thank you so much for your energy, your time, and knowledge. Again, I hope you're keeping well, stay safe, stay sane. I'm Puri Anindita, and I hope to see you soon at the 4th Indonesia Circular Economy Forum on July 21st, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.